People think solitude is sadness, but solitude is actually clarity wearing a quiet face. When you step away from the noise of people, opinions, expectations, and endless comparisons, something powerful begins to happen inside you. Your mind finally gets space to breathe. Smart people choose this space because they understand that clarity cannot survive in chaos. When everyone is talking, advising, judging, and pulling you in different directions, your own voice becomes the weakest. Solitude is the moment when that voice becomes loud again. Being alone teaches you how to sit with your thoughts without running away. It forces you to face your fears, your mistakes, your dreams, and your potential. This is not comfortable, and that is why most people avoid it. But intelligent minds know that growth is never born from comfort. They sit in silence and ask themselves hard questions. What do I really want? What am I tolerating that I shouldn't? What part of me needs healing instead of hiding? In solitude, you stop performing and start becoming. You don't need to impress anyone, explain yourself, or pretend to be strong. You can be honest without fear of rejection. That honesty sharpens your decision-making. It makes you emotionally educated. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop living on autopilot and start choosing your direction with intention. Solitude also teaches patience. It trains you to wait instead of rushing into attachments just to feel complete. You learn that peace is more valuable than attention, and self-understanding is more powerful than validation. When you are comfortable being alone, you become dangerous in the best way, because no one can manipulate you with fear of abandonment. So don't be afraid of being alone. Use it, sit with yourself. Listen carefully. The clarity you gain there will protect you from years of confusion, wrong choices, and emotional exhaustion, and it will quietly shape you into someone who knows exactly who they are and where they are going. Many people stay in relationships not because they are happy, but because they are afraid of standing alone. Smart people understand this fear, but they refuse to let it control them. They know that self-respect is not something you negotiate or sacrifice just to keep someone close. The moment a relationship starts demanding silence instead of honesty, tolerance instead of dignity, and adjustment instead of mutual respect, an intelligent mind steps back. Not to hurt anyone, but to protect their own soul. Choosing self-respect over forced connections requires courage. It means saying no to emotional begging, no to half-hearted efforts, and no to love that comes with conditions. Smart people recognize that being needed is not the same as being valued. They can feel the difference between genuine care and convenient attachment. When respect disappears, love slowly turns into survival, and they refuse to live in survival mode. Forced relationships drain energy in ways people don't realize until they finally step out. Constant explaining, constant proving, constant shrinking just to fit into someone else's comfort zone slowly erases identity. Intelligent people notice this erosion early. They listen to their inner discomfort. They don't ignore the heaviness in their chest or the exhaustion after every interaction. Instead of calling it overthinking, they call it awareness. Walking away is not weakness, it is self-education. It teaches you that your presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. When you respect yourself, you stop accepting crumbs where you deserve a full meal. You stop answering calls that disturb your peace, and stop showing up where you are merely tolerated. Being alone with dignity feels lighter than being together without respect. And once you choose self-respect, you never beg for space, effort, or love again, because you finally understand that the right connections will never ask you to abandon yourself just to stay. Many people confuse compromise with self-respect, but smart people know the difference very clearly. Compromise adjusts behavior. Self-respect protects identity. The moment a relationship starts asking you to tolerate disrespect, emotional neglect, or constant invalidation, intelligence wakes you up. Smart people don't stay where they have to beg to be understood. They don't lower their standards just to avoid the silence of being alone. They understand that loneliness hurts for a while, but losing yourself hurts for a lifetime. Staying in a forced relationship slowly trains you to doubt your own worth. You start questioning your feelings, justifying bad behavior, and convincing yourself that this is normal. Intelligent minds catch this pattern early. They notice how their energy drops, how their confidence fades, how their voice becomes softer just to avoid conflict. And that awareness becomes a turning point. They choose the pain of walking away over the slow poison of staying. Self-respect is not loud. It doesn't announce exits or create drama. It quietly steps back when boundaries are crossed. Smart people understand that love without respect is just emotional attachment, and attachment without dignity becomes a prison. They refuse to stay connected to people who only value them when it's convenient, who listen only to reply, and who love conditionally. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it is educational. It teaches you that your time, emotions, and presence are valuable. It reminds you that you don't need to be constantly chosen by others if you are strong enough to choose yourself. Smart people would rather be alone with their values intact than surrounded by people who benefit from their silence. When you respect yourself, you stop chasing closure, explanations, and validation. You walk away calmly, carrying your self-worth with you. And in that quiet decision, you reclaim your power, your peace, and your identity without apologizing to anyone. Smart people don't avoid people, they understand people. That understanding is called emotional intelligence, and it changes the way you choose who gets access to you. When you are emotionally intelligent, you stop confusing attention with connection and familiarity with trust. You begin to read energies, intentions, and patterns instead of just words. That is why intelligent minds become selective, not cold, not arrogant, just deeply aware. Emotional intelligence teaches you that not everyone who smiles at you wants your growth, and not everyone who stays close deserves your vulnerability. Smart people listen more than they speak. They observe how people react when you succeed, how they behave when you set boundaries, and how they respond when you are no longer useful to them. These observations educate them more than any advice ever could. Being selective is an act of self-protection. It means you don't hand your emotions to people who mishandle them. You don't share your dreams with those who secretly compete with you. You don't seek comfort from those who only listen to reply. Intelligent people understand that emotional damage doesn't always come from enemies, it often comes from familiar faces. With emotional intelligence, you also take responsibility for your own reactions. You stop blaming others for how you feel and start managing your emotions with maturity. You pause before reacting. You choose peace. Oh, for proving a point. This inner control makes your presence powerful and your absence unforgettable. Smart people don't need a crowd to feel validated. They need alignment. A few honest, emotionally mature connections are more valuable than 100 shallow ones. That is why their circle becomes smaller but stronger. And once you understand this, you stop feeling lonely and start feeling protected, because you realize that selective connections are not about pushing people away. They are about allowing only those who respect your emotional depth to walk beside you. Most transformations happen quietly, far away from applause, validation, and recognition. Smart people understand that real growth does not announce itself. It happens in moments when no one is watching, when you are alone with your doubts, your discipline, and your determination. While others chase attention, intelligent minds chase alignment. They are not in a hurry to prove anything because they know that becoming is more important than being seen. Silence becomes a workshop for growth. In that silence, you read when no one is clapping, you practice when no one is encouraging, and you improve when no one is noticing. This is where strength is built. Smart people are not distracted by the need to explain their journey. They trust the process enough to walk it alone, even when it feels slow and heavy. They understand that shortcuts create noise, but consistency creates results. Growth requires patience, and patience requires solitude. When you are alone, you are not performing for approval. You are working on your weaknesses honestly. You admit what you don't know. You confront habits that hold you back. You discipline yourself without needing external pressure. Intelligent people know that motivation fades, but self-discipline grows in silence. Applause often comes after transformation, not before it. Smart people are willing to be misunderstood in the beginning. They accept that people may doubt them, ignore them, or underestimate them. That does not shake them because their validation comes from progress, not opinions. They are busy becoming better, not louder. So don't rush to be seen. Don't measure your worth by how many people are watching. Measure it by how much you are growing when no one is around. The silence you endure today is preparing you for a strength that will speak for you tomorrow, long after the noise fades and the results stand firm on their own. When you truly know your worth, something powerful shifts inside you, and that shift changes the people around you without you saying a single word. Smart people don't announce their value, they live it. And once you stop tolerating less than you deserve, many people naturally fall away. Not because you became difficult, but because you became clear. Clarity intimidates those who benefited from your confusion. Knowing your worth teaches you boundaries, and boundaries are uncomfortable for people who were used to unlimited access. You stop overgiving, over-explaining, and overstaying. You no longer feel guilty for choosing peace over popularity. Intelligent minds understand that every yes costs something, and every no protects something. They choose wisely because they respect their emotional energy like a limited resource. As your self-worth rises, your circle changes. Conversations become deeper or disappear. Some people can't meet you at your level of honesty, growth, and emotional maturity, and that is not your failure. Smart people don't chase people who can't grow with them. They don't beg to be understood. They allow distance to reveal truth. Knowing your worth also means you stop entertaining disrespect in subtle forms. You notice passive comments, inconsistent behavior, and lack of effort. Instead of making excuses for others, you make decisions for yourself. You realize that being kind does not require being available to everyone. Strength with softness becomes your language. This awareness can feel lonely at first because growth often separates you from familiarity. But smart people understand that outgrowing people is a sign of progress, not arrogance. You are not meant to shrink to keep others comfortable. You are meant to expand into who you truly are. And when you stand firm in your worth, the right people don't feel threatened by your boundaries. They feel safe around them because they recognize that someone who values themselves will also value others with honesty, respect, and depth. Being alone is often misunderstood as emptiness, but smart people know the truth. Alone is not empty, it is complete. When you are comfortable in your own presence, you stop searching for people to fill gaps that only self-awareness can heal. You don't use relationships as distractions from unresolved pain. You face yourself fully, and that is where real strength is born. Smart people learn to enjoy their own company because it gives them freedom. Freedom from needing constant reassurance. Freedom from adjusting their personality to be accepted. Freedom from depending on someone else to feel whole. When you feel complete on your own, connections become a choice, not a necessity. You don't attach out of fear. You connect out of alignment. Being complete means you understand that your happiness is your responsibility. You don't expect others to rescue you, fix you, or validate your existence. You build your life piece by piece, with intention and patience. This self-sufficiency makes you emotionally strong because nothing external can easily shake your foundation. Smart people also understand that solitude doesn't isolate them, it strengthens them, it sharpens their thinking, deepens their values, and grounds their emotions. When you are full within yourself, you don't tolerate chaos just to feel accompanied. You choose peace even if it means walking alone. This kind of completeness changes how you love. You love without losing yourself. You give without draining yourself. You stay without trapping yourself. And if someone leaves, you don't fall apart because you were never built on them to begin with. So don't fear being alone. Build yourself there. Become so whole that anyone who enters your life is adding to it, not saving it. That is the quiet power of being complete. A power that allows you to stand strong, calm, and unshaken, no matter who stays or walks away.